What goes down, everybody? Walker Daddy here, back again with another video for you guys. This is my review video talking about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Now, as you can tell from the title and from the thumbnail, this is yet again another review slash rant. So, where to begin? Oh boy. Okay. To be honest, to be fair here, At first, I enjoyed the movie, and here's why. I enjoyed the movie because of the Easter eggs and references it gave. That's it. This movie was bad. Very disgracefully bad. And here's why. First off, starting with Leon. Leon was nothing in this movie. The actor that played Leon, you could tell he did want to be Leon. He wanted to play the best version of Leon. It's just this director, and yes, I'm going to get into that in a second. Didn't give him what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't give him the chance to be his game counterpart. He didn't get the chance to be Leon like from the games, if that makes any sense. But point being, Leon in this movie is garbage. Leon is absolutely trash in this movie. Like, I kid you not. The only, it's even said in the movie, the only reason why he's in Raccoon City is because he shot his partner in the behind, like in the butt, like that armor plate that's protecting the butt. Like, he shot him there, and since his father's like a higher up, a cop or rich person or whatever, if it pulls some strings to get him transferred to Raccoon City, a briefing in Raccoon City. And what the I don't understand. I mean, that I can tell you right now that's not how it is in the games. It's not like that in the games. Leon in the games is better, and Leon in the games worked his ass off to become a police officer, not this version of Leon we got in this movie, who's just a screw up. Yeah, Leon in this movie, terrible. I don't understand. Like, the actors are really. It's a shame for me even saying something like that, because the actor's a good actor. I know he's from Victorious, but here's the thing: Leon's not the kid from Victorious. He's not. And the fact that this director wanted Leon to be like this in this movie is ridiculous. Like, I saw other reviews and they even said it. Like, how can something like this even be in the movie? Like, I sort of agree, because I'm like, well, you could just, there shouldn't be no point for Leon to be in this movie. Like, if you really want to take a character out of this movie, I would have replaced Leon. Like, took him out completely and added Barry Burton. That's how I would do it if I was picking characters to remove. But yeah, Leon in this movie is trash. And keep in mind, guys, it's not the actor's fault. It's not the actor's fault. It's more of the writers and the director. It's their fault for doing this in the first place, which, in my opinion, is just really retarded and sloppy writing, if you ask me. But let's get into some of the positives. Some of the positives I do have with this movie. The Easter eggs. Some of the Easter eggs are actually pretty good. Some of them are pretty dumb. But I'll get into the ones that are pretty good. The keys where always the driver was handing Claire the keys. I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool, because that's a little nod to RE2 remake, and I think that's actually pretty interesting, because a person like myself, like a Resident Evil fan myself, I have indeed played RE2 remake. So that was a nice little Easter egg, and I'm like, hey, here's this, and I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. The police department from the inside and from the outside, it looked just like from the games. Pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie, it was actually pretty cool. Pretty cool Easter egg. Um, the trucker eating the sandwich, that was another pretty cool Easter egg from RE2 remake. That was pretty cool. Um, the liquor popping out of nowhere from the roof, that was another pretty good Easter egg. That's actually what happens in the games, which I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to. I mean, well, we're not really talking about the games, but point being, it's actually pretty good nod to the games, if I do say so myself. One of the Easter eggs I did not like, the Tasty Easter egg. I didn't really like that one because in the game, and that's in the book, there's like this book called Itchy Tasty, where this guy got bitten, and I didn't like how they were just referencing that Easter egg. I'm like, well, why? When there's another thing you could do. So I didn't know what was the point of that. And I know there's like a lot of Easter eggs in this movie, but again, I mean, the good Easter eggs in this movie are the ones that made this movie pretty good. Going back into negatives, unfortunately, but I mean, mostly this whole movie is yeah. But anyway, the next negative I have is Wesker. Wesker, the actor, again, it's not the actor's fault. The actor's Tom Hopper is a pretty good actor. Um, I know he was in the Umbrella Academy. Um, but he did look like Wesker for the casting choices. He did look somewhat of a decent choice for to play Wesker. But point being is, well, spoilers to those who haven't. Yeah, it's another thing too. Spoilers if you have not seen the film. Wesker in this movie is garbage as well because in the games, Wesker's the mastermind. Wesker's so mysterious. He's the indirect cause for what happens, not only in the Spencer Mansion, but what happens in Raccoon City and in RE4. Some of the events in RE4 happen because of him, because he's the indirect cause of that. That's how he is in the games, and in my opinion, that's how they should have went with Wesker in this movie, because that's how it is in the games. But no, Wesker in this movie, he just grabs a random little iPod or iPhone, whatever the fuck that was, and he's like communicating with Ada, and he's like guiding them through the mansion, and I'm like, what? I mean, I know the lore. I know the lore. I know how Wesker becomes Wesker. I know how Wesker becomes Wesker, and the fact that that happened, like in this movie, it didn't happen like it happened in the game. And I'm like, bro, this is why this movie should have been called Resident Evil, because the way I would have done it was I would have had the first movie Resident Evil, the sequel Welcome to Raccoon City with Jill and Leon, the third movie Resident Evil Nemesis with Jill. That's how I would do it. Other than having two movies, two games, like two games in one movie, just to I don't know. This movie again. This movie was a mess. But point being, Wesker in this movie, I can understand. I can understand why they want to make us feel for him, but it just didn't work. It just didn't work. I mean, did I feel bad for him? Yeah, but it just, I know what they were going for, but it just didn't work for this movie. Wesker in this movie should have been the Wesker from the games. This director talks about, oh, it's going to be faithful to the games. And I'm like, yeah, you don't have Leon, and you don't have Wesker, who's like Wesker from the games. Like, if he played the games, if he really played the games, he would know and understand that Wesker's not this bum of a guy who just falls for chill. No, Wesker in the games, and spoilers to those. I mean, but still though, to those who haven't played one, but Wesker is the one who causes. He's like the one who causes it all. And the fact that, and I'm sorry, but the fact that they butchered him too really just annoys me. Like, why? Why? Why couldn't you just have Wesker be the Wesker like we know from the games? Why did I don't understand? It's like every single time they do a Resident Evil movie, it's like they butcher Wesker, and I'm like, why? That Wesker's not. Wesker doesn't follow orders. Wesker in the games, and this is what makes him so good of a character. That he's menacing. He causes what happens at the Spencer Mansion. Chris finds out. He wants to fight him. Barry finds out too. Um, Joe finds out too in RE1 spoilers. And this is what Chris finds out. This is what causes the rivalry between Wesker and Chris, as we saw from 1 to 5. So I don't know. The fact they didn't even do that in this movie. There's so much in this movie that was so rushed, and it's not even funny, bro. Guys, it's not even funny. It's like, what is this? What is this movie? Wesker, him with Leon in this movie, fucking trash. I don't understand. I'm like, why? Why? I don't understand. And don't even get me started with Jill. Jill was another character in this movie that was not doing anything. And that's another negative I have. Because Jill in the games, the actress, don't get me wrong, she's an amazing actress, a beautiful actress. But I can tell you now, and this is my honest opinion, she did not look nothing like Jill from the games. Because Jill is not, she's not black. I mean, not to be rude, not to be racist, but she's not black. She's white, and that's her character model. And the fact that they have a real good actress playing this character, I'm sorry, but it's like, Same with Leon. Leon's another perfect example. Leon is not the kid from Victorious. Jill's not this random black lady. And I'm sorry, but I know what they look like in the games, and not to be rude, but I'm just saying because it's like you look at some of the casting choices and you're like, why? Why would you pick certain characters to be like certain actors to play these characters if you know that's not what they look like? If you really know their game counterpart, I don't know. It's so stupid. Claire, Claire was okay in this movie. I know they wanted to make Claire the big main character in this movie. It just didn't work. It didn't work for me. The actress that played Claire, she was beautiful, but Claire is this teenage, like she's not supposed to be this grown adult. She's supposed to be this teenager in college who is looking for her brother, and my gosh, I mean, she's not even looking for her brother in this movie. She reunites with her brother in in the very beginning where she breaks into his house. And I'm like, bro, that's not Claire. Claire would never just break into somebody's house or be this rude like person. Claire is this kind, sweet soul of a character and of a person who would do anything to like save like good people to those who need it, not this random badass person with a shotgun. I don't know. It's so funny. It's so weird. It's so ridiculous. It's so dumb. I'm like, why? 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 It's so dumb. Oh goodness, why? I'm like, why couldn't they just make a good Resident Evil movie? I don't understand. Don't even get me started with the whole Chris thing. So, and this is a big negative, a really big negative. So, Chris in the movie, and again, spoilers, in the movie, he said Umbrella gave me everything. And keep in mind, Chris in the games literally hates Umbrella. He hates Red Umbrella. He really does. And the fact that Chris said that in this movie, that Umbrella gave me everything, pisses me off, because Chris like Chris in the games wouldn't be on board with this. Chris would be like, "Boy, you better snap out of it," because Chris hates Umbrella. I've seen it. Like, if you play, I kid you not, I played the RE7 DLC with Chris, not a hero, like the DLC for RE7, one of them. He even in the Resident Evil 7 Not a Hero DLC, Chris even said it. When he was when he during that time where he was with Blue Umbrella helping out, he even said it to his whoever the heck he was talking to. Umbrella is gonna take getting used to on my part, which makes sense because he always hated Umbrella. He was never on board with working with Umbrella, so that makes sense for him to say something like that because he never liked an Umbrella. And the fact that Chris in this movie says, "Oh, Umbrella gave me everything," that's a complete, like, what? Chris in the games would never say something like this. Like, not to be rude or anything, but Chris would never say something like that. Don't get me wrong, Robert Mel was great as Chris in this movie. When it comes down to lines like that, I'm like, bro, what the hell? Even that scene in the movie where William Birkin was laughing his behind off, where he was like, like supposed to be talking to Chris, like, oh, he was like saying like, oh, how can your how can you be so stupid, Chris, when your sister's so smart? And I'm like, yeah, obviously, because I mean, it just blows my mind that Claire in this movie's more smarter than fucking Chris. I'm like, bro, what the hell? That's what blew my mind. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. What the? This movie was bad, bro. This movie was terrible. This movie was terrible. I'm not even joking. I'm like, how did I even enjoy this movie? I'm like, bro, why did I even go to the movie theater to go see this movie? Why? Why? I can't believe I was so stupid enough to be like, oh, take me to the movie theater. Uh, now I regret it because I'm like, bro, this is so stupid. The whole movie was stupid. I'm like, what is this? We barely got anything of the Spencer Mansion. We barely got anything of the REPD Police Department. We barely got anything. Marvin, where was Marvin in this movie? Where was Barry Burton? Where was Rebecca Chambers in this movie? Nowhere to be seen because supposedly the director didn't want to add those characters, which pisses me off because they're a big factor in the Raccoon City story. It's so stupid. Where was Mr. X? Guys, where was Mr. X in this movie? Where was Mr. X? The tyrant that's walking around the RAPD police department, stalking Claire and Leon. Where was he? Where was Mr. X? I kid you not, guys. Mr. X plays a big part in the R2 remake story. Because that's in the games. Where was Barry? Barry was nowhere in this movie. If you played RE1, you would know the four characters that enter that fucking mansion are Barry, Wesker, Jill, and Chris. Those four. Not Jill, Wesker, Chris, and whoever the fuck that was entering the mansion with him. That guy that got torn apart by those zombies so quick that nobody cared about his actual name. And don't even get me started with the helicopter guy in the helicopter who got blown up. Supposedly that was Brad. And I'm like, I didn't even know until I looked it up. I'm like, really? That's Brad? And I'm like, really? You gave him that death? This is so Brad, the one that dies by Nemesis in the original RE3 game. You're telling me he dies in this movie from a fucking helicopter crash? Are you kidding me? And Chief Irons? Don't get me wrong, the actor was great as Chief Hines in this movie, but where the heck was his? Where in the world was his sadistic serial killer like motives? If you played RE2 Remake and the original RE2 game, you would know and understand that Chief Irons in that game and in those games is a fucking serial killer. He like goes around the city, somehow killing women, kidnapping them, um, like injecting drugs into their bodies, killing them. I'm like, where was that in this movie? That would have been cool to see. If it was just for 5 minutes, that would have been cool to see. And guess what? We didn't see that in this movie. He was funny, yeah, but that's the part. I'm like, okay, you have him. He's funny. He's an asshole. He doesn't care about nobody but himself. But there's still something missing. His crazy sadistic attitude, where he kidnaps people and tries to kill them. Where was that in this movie? Sony, fucking Robert, whoever the heck directed this movie. Where was that in this movie? It wasn't in this movie, and that's what pissed me off. As a Resident Evil fan myself, someone who has played these games, it's ridiculous. It's so dumb. It's ridiculous. Don't even get me started with Annette Birkin and Sherry Birkin, because they did nothing in this movie. They did nothing in this movie. And I'm like, why didn't you just cut them out? Why couldn't you just not have them in this movie? Because William Birkin in this movie gets like 5 minutes of screen time and then that's it for his whole fucking character. Annette Birkin is a scientist in the games, and it's fact because I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, and she's a scientist in that game. In this movie, she's nothing in this movie. She gets wasted by Wesker, who, don't even get me started about that, gets to the lab by this random hidden thing under the Spencer mansion that leads them to the lab of Raccoon City. I don't know. It's so weird. It's so out of place. It's so stupid. It's like, bro, it's like whoever directed this movie just wanted to do Code Veronica. I don't fucking know. It's so stupid, bro. It's ridiculous. I'm like, what is this? This movie was bad, bro. This movie was terrible. This movie was a disgrace to the game's material. Combining 1 and 2 was not worth it. It was not worth it. In the games, the events of RE1 takes place in like August or September, I believe, and then October, somewhere around there, like in October, the events of RE2 take place, where Claire is looking for her brother in the games. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? This is fucking. I don't understand. This stupid movie was so stupid. So you're telling me this universe doesn't have Mr. X, doesn't have a nemesis or tyrants? There's no Rebecca. There's no Barry Burton, and if there's no Barry Burton, then there's no Mara Burton, because Mara Burton is like Claire's best friend. Oh God, that even thinking about that right now is so fucking dumb. I'm like, why? I can't believe they messed up. Yeah, they messed up so much material. And get this, so the bombing in Raccoon City, like, it's not even bombed. It gets destroyed from something underground. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's not how it is in the games, though. I don't understand. Like, how can a director say that we're gonna make this movie, it's gonna be faithful to the games, yet it's not faithful to the games, though. It's not, because you're making all these changes because you want to please those people to which you said it's gonna be a fucking reboot. And I'm like, I don't know. This whole movie feels wrong. Like, what was the point of this movie? Why I didn't like it. This movie felt like a cash grab. It felt like a cash grab. I felt so stupid for seeing it in the movie theater. I really do. And it sucks for me to say that as a Resident Evil fan myself because it's like so stupid. I'm like, what? I don't know. This whole movie just pisses me off. I don't know. Claire was nothing as Claire wasn't Leon. Yeah, Claire was nothing like her game counterpart. Leon was nothing like her game counterpart. Jill did nothing in this movie. Absolutely nothing in this movie. She was like, "Oh, West Creepy this," and I'm like, "Bro, that's not Jill. That's not Jill Valentine. Jill Valentine is smart, caring, badass, amazing. She's nothing like that in this movie, and it sucks because the actress. You could tell the actress was trying. You could tell the actress wanted to be somewhat of a good interpretation of Jill Valentine from the games, and I feel like this movie just doesn't give her the chance to do that, which is bad. It's very bad. The only two good characters were really good in this movie were Chris, Chief Irons, and a little bit of Birkin. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Everybody else is eh. And don't even get me started with the post-credit scene where you have Ada come. When somebody said that she was going to be in the movie via post-credit scene, I call that person crazy. And when I saw her in the post-credit scene, boy, did that piss me off. Because the actress that they picked to be Ada looked just like fucking Ada Wong from the games. And I kid you not. That pissed me off. That really pissed me off because it's like another Code Veronica. I don't know. It's fucking stupid. It's like oh, the next movie's gonna be Code Veronica and RE4 mixed together, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Oh God, bro, these fucking idiots. They're so stupid. I don't understand. These writers, are so stupid. It's like, oh, we're gonna have 1 and 2 together in the same movie, and we're gonna have the runtime be an hour and 47 minutes. And I'm like, bro, if you do that, it's gonna feel rushed. And guess what? It was fucking rushed because guess what? You messed up a lot of stuff from the games. This movie was fucking garbage, boy. This movie was garbage. Any Resident Evil fan would know and notice that this movie is garbage. Whoever enjoys this movie, I don't know how you can enjoy this movie when this movie is not even faithful to the actual games, where they changed so much. There's no Nemesis, there's no Mr. X, there's no Barry, there's no none of that. There's none of that in this universe. There's none of that in this movie. Sherry Burton did nothing in this movie. She didn't even interact with Claire. There's no Sherry and Claire friendship or dynamic. There's no Leon being a rookie cop. There's no tyrants. There's no Mr. X. There's no Barry. There's no nothing. The references in this movie are the only ones that makes. They're the only thing that makes this movie good, which is bad. That's not how it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be like that. I don't understand why people believe that this shit makes sense and this makes good storytelling. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I bet you right now, if I was rewriting this whole fucking movie, it would be 10 times better than the actual movie itself. Because at least with me, I played the fucking games. With this new not showrunner, but director, Robert something, this old Chinese director dude who directed only 2 or 3 movies. One of them being 27 meters down, which was a low budget movie. I'm like, bro, what the hell? The marketing for this movie was terrible too. Don't even get me started with that because some of the teasers were garbage. It looked like a teaser from fucking Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, and I'm like, bro, what is this? Why are they doing this teaser like this? This is ridiculous. fucking dumb. It's ridiculous. I'm gonna my rating. I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 10, a 4.1 out of 10. This movie was garbage. This movie, I don't know how anybody could like this movie. It's a disgrace. It's an insult to Resident Evil fans. It's a disgrace. It's like first, oh my god, first you divided the fan base. First you have the Shit of Us Part 2, where you have Joe die. Then you get The Last Jedi, and now we're getting something like this. Unbelievable. I can't believe it. Wow, this is depressing. I can't believe that this is what we got. For a Resident Evil movie. What? Why? Why would you make this movie? This movie should never been made. This movie should never been made. It's an insult to the games. It's only going to divide people even more. And I'm not going to be a part of something like that because we've seen this with many things before, and it's getting so frustrating and annoying at this point. It's so stupid. Yeah, all the characters were well, not all of them, but only 2 or 3 of them were pretty good. The rest were garbage. Because it's great. Yeah, everything about this movie was garbage. The marketing, the script, the sense of direction, well, not the Easter eggs, but some of the locations. The runtime was fucking stupid. Why would you have this movie an hour 47 minutes? I don't know. This movie was bad, bro. This movie was stupid. And if if any of you disagree with me, please comment down below. But yeah, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one as always. Peace out.